We have to go to comments in order to see the.
Yes. All right. So we are live. Hello, America. I hope everyone is safe and sound in this wild day. I'm obviously just rambling. Okay. Okie doke. So welcome to the Tobias Literary Lens AMA. It is a Wednesday, 7 p.m., January 29th. Lane Haymont and Rose, Jackie Lipton, Kelly Dyksterhouse. I totally in my head just mixed everyone's name up. I was about to say Ann Dyksterhouse, and I was like, yeah, no, let me get things straight. All right, so for today, we have a bunch of people.
Do we? I don't think I even reposted about it happening today or anything.
Oh, Chelsea Moyer. Yay, Chelsea. Ann and I both noticed the logo in the back, in the corner, and it looks amazing.
It's pretty.
It is. Okie doke. So let's hop into it. We do have some asks, which is amazing. Thank you, Chelsea. Peekit?
Yes. Thank you, Chelsea.
Peckett? Peekit? Puka? Somebody asked, are you interested in writers who write in Spanish? Me personally, yes. But so editors love translations. They want stuff from overseas. So I kind of want to trick everyone to maybe have someone here write it in Spanish and then sell it as a translation for big bucks. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense or not. No? Okay.
You're not selling it as you're selling the translation as the first published word.
Yes. I'm selling the translation. So I think that would be hilarious to,
So it would be in English.
Yes. But the book would be written in Spanish, and then we sell the translation to a publisher over here. So it would be published English first, but we would sell it, pitch it as a translation.
So you're asking an author to write an entire book in Spanish first.
No, I'm not asking.
In English.
No, this person asked, are you interested in writers who write in Spanish? So obviously this person would write a book in Spanish, is I assume their first language. It would be in Spanish. And I'd say, hey, Penguin Random House, this is the most amazing book. Here it is. Give me $1 million and you will sell it for $1 billion in the English language. Unbeknownst, this person lives in America, speaks perfect English, and then we're all just laughing it up.
I mean, this is a very interesting theory.
Well, I also have fantasies of hostile takeover. So, I mean, anyway, let other people answer the question. Hi, Jeremy.
I do have people on my list who I signed as writers writing in another language, but who do work as translators. I typically don't get involved in those contracts because they're fairly straightforward, although I'm happy to look at them, but that tends to be a side gig for people. So I'm not looking for people who are writing in another language. But if you do write in another language, there's often some good translation work out there.
Yeah. I learned translators make bank, and it makes sense because it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, yeah.
What about you, Ann? Do you represent would you represent someone who writes in Spanish?
I mean, I don't read fluently in Spanish, so I'm not sure how well I would be able to help them if that's what they're writing in. But if they are writing in English and they also can write, and I don't see a problem. But I think there has to be a level of expertise in the written Spanish language in order to take on a project like that.
Oh, see, it's Charles Hall. Charles is saying, I have already arranged a translator for the Peru market. My Spanish is Castilian. I I think that's like proper Spanish from Castile. I put proper in quotes because, who says what is proper? Kelly?
Yeah, I probably would fall on the same lines as Anne. I would because I don't read or speak fluently, I wouldn't be able to be a good evaluator of the work if it came to me primarily in Spanish. So if I could see the text in English first, and then they were also, fluent in Spanish, then that would probably be the way I'd be comfortable working with that project.
That makes sense. Okay, next up, Maria. Ooh. When do each of you expect to be caught up on query letters? How far along are you so far? Generally speaking, how long is normal for authors to wait to hear back on queries? That depends on the agent, so I'm going to hush up because usually it takes me a year or two. How do I unclose?
He's not exaggerating with that either.
Yeah, no, he's not.
No.
I thought I would go and look, and I have queries in my box from October, so I am a little behind.
That's not that far behind.
No. I mean, I do say on my, the auto response, like when someone submits a query, I do say it can take up to 4 months. And when I start having queries longer than 4 months, I panic. Actually, I panicked before then because I don't like having that many queries in my query box. But I think, for a lot of people, 3 or 4 months is standard. I think a lot of people with a lot of admin responsibilities like Lane and a lot of agency heads I know can take longer than that. And, I think, look at a lot of people, a lot of agents are on Blue Sky or other social media and are saying where they are in their queries. A lot of people's auto responses say, hey, if you don't hear from me in this much time, feel free to nudge. A lot of people say, if you don't hear from me in this much time, it's a no, you can query someone else at the agency, whatever. So it does vary.
Yeah. I usually say 3 to 4 months, but always, you're always welcome to nudge and see where you are and reach out. I do answer every query. So there's not, I know some agents, and I understand why, will say if you haven't heard from me within, 2 months or something like that, then, consider that a pass. But I don't do that. I answer every query. It's just it can take longer.
I feel very called out by that, Anne. I mean, Kelly.
Can we take a brief?
Why?
Can we take a kitten break, or this person won't go away?
It's a flurry kitten break.
Yeah,
All right.
take a kitten.
I don't know how to get the
You have
background.
to unblur your background.
Okay, I unblurred it.
Oh, look at the kitty!
A kitten moment. Everyone enjoy the kitten. The kitten does not want to be on camera.
We love kitties.
All right, that was the kitten moment. Please remove the kitten.
Good.
Hi, Megan.
Okay, so Deborah asks.
Wait, why do you feel called out, Lane?
I honestly don't. Oh, because I don't answer every query.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I was literally I was joking and almost forgot what I was referring to. But I mean, I don't answer every query. I should. I'm awful with queries. I know I am. And I'm working on it. And
admitting it is the first step. So
yeah. Thankfully, we have Denai, who is amazing and is in my query manager, and they are fantastic at what they do, and they have been finding great projects. They found a great one tonight that I want to read. So God bless Denai, without using the word God, because, whatever. Deborah asks, how do you query a YA if you also write picture book in middle grade, but many YA agents don't rep those? I am shutting up because this is...
Anne,
yes.
That's you.
Oh, you want me to answer this question?
Well, because you don't rep picture books, but you rep novels.
I do. I think really what this question is at, like, you're looking for someone to rep your entire repertoire, and that doesn't always happen. And so if you have a YA book, I would focus on finding an agent that's perfect for your YA book, and in hopes that they would also want to help you with your other projects. So for me personally, like, I don't particularly take on picture books, but I do have clients that want to write them. And so I do help them with those, but I don't take queries for picture books, if that makes sense. So I'm a little bit different in that regard, because I do work from middle grade up is what I say, but I have a couple clients that are working on picture books and I'm subbing a couple picture books. So there is some crossover. You can always have that conversation with an agent when they, at the time that they offer you rep, because maybe someone else in their house could do the picture book for you instead, if they're not like me and try to do it all. So
Exactly.
that would be how I would approach it. Just look for who would be the best for this YA book if that's what you're on sub with currently.
And not to pitch us as an agency, but we take people on for the careers, and I have authors who write out of different genres, and different age groups. So if someone writes a picture book and I don't do picture books, I'm like, hey, Kelly, can you look at this picture book for me? Let's co-rep it. Okay, we got a question. Hi, Cheryl. Hi there. How do agents come up with what is right for their lists? I also feel called out because I have no idea how to answer that question. Someone else can take the floor.
I think actually, didn't you have a really good, I feel like we talked about this and you said something really smart recently.
I don't know what I've said in the past, but I think for me, because now I'm doing this open like for 1 week a month for my queries. And so like each month, like last month, I was not open to picture book texts. It was only author illustrators. This month, I'm going to be open to picture book texts. So it can kind of change in that respect from time to time. But I think first of all, the big thing is looking at your list and seeing, like I'll look at my clients and what projects they have out, because I don't want to take on somebody or a project that might compete with clients I already represent. So I could see where the holes are, see what I'm looking for, and see what could help round out the list from there. So that's a big part of it. And then as for whether or not an individual project that might check the boxes of like, maybe I'm looking for middle grade fantasy, with, I don't know, portal fantasy, just pulling something out. It might be that, but if it's not a project that really attracts me, or I feel like I could read it 9 or 10 times and still be excited about it, then that's book itself is probably not a fit for my list. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I actually had an example of that first thing you talked about this week, and I can't remember if I passed it to someone else or if I sent a kind pass. But if I did, I told the author, like, if it's something like that, if I really like something, but it's too close to something another client is writing and it would sort of conflict, I'll typically say that in my pass, and I'll typically say, I really liked your writing. So if you don't find rep and you have other projects, send them my way. But that literally, because I reopened to queries last week, I think, and it happened really in the last week. So it happens more than you think. And it's not that your book is exactly the same as, it's just that, it's going to be really close in the market and you're going to be sending it to the same editors. And it's just like, it's just too difficult to do.
Yeah.
I think when I think about curating my list, Editors say that a lot, and I think, at least for me as an agent, I don't know about anyone else. I mean, it's not necessarily, and I know Nat's going to be so annoyed that I'm saying this, that it's not exactly intentional. I mean, I know what I like, but I represent the horror that I like, that I want to see out there. Just like nonfiction, I tell people I have an eclectic list because you'll find slasher horror, but then you'll find philosophy and pop science and memoir and whatever floats my boat.
I'm actually a bit like Lane in that respect. I mean, if there's something specific I really want, it's usually because I want to read more of it. Like I want to see more of that thing on the shelves. So, and I tend to really look at pretty much anything. And if I really just like the story and the narrative voice, so like I tend not to do, say, a lot of romance and a lot of fantasy. Partly, well, I do read romance actually, but I don't read that much fantasy, so I'm not necessarily the best agent for it because it's not the thing I read that much. So a lot of it is my reading taste.
I think a lot of it has to do with what we feel comfortable working on as well. So all of that and that.
I will say I love fantasy, but I hate the term portal fantasy. It feels redundant, and not everything needs a subgenre. Like Anne has a 80s hairstyle right now. I don't need to say a blonde 80s hairstyle. It's, anyway.
Those are different things, but okay.
That totally different things. I just saw the 80s hairstyle and it just popped into my head. Are any of you
Maria? I know Maria.
I know Maria.
Hi, Maria.
Hi, Maria.
Are any of you looking for anything in particular in regards to graphic novels right now? Ooh, I think Kelly and Anne do graphic novels.
A little bit. Nat's does the most in our group, but she's not here. What I would be looking for in particular, let me think. Anne, if you have something you're looking for in particular?
Don't have anything particular. I just work with author illustrators, so I don't do like graphic novel text only. I like to have a package deal, so that's where I stand on that. And I have a feeling Maria's asking this because I know that she has a query in my inbox, which is probably also why she was asking the query. I will get back to you, Maria. I promise. You have been on my mind.
And could I just say that for all the people who queried me when I opened because they had queried everyone else at the agency and they'd said no, please don't send me graphic novels. Any of my clients watching this, I've probably had this discussion with you. I have not got the foggiest idea what to do with them. And then I just go to Kelly or Anne or Nat. And so you're much better off having the conversation with them because I don't really know what I'm doing.
Well, I will say I am also really only looking for author illustrators. And the reason why is right now talking to editors, that's all they are looking for. So really what they're looking for dictates kind of what we look for as well. And which, Maria, I know that you are an author illustrator, so that's exciting. I think that I am looking more on the younger side personally for my list of graphic novels, more something that would be for the 8 to 10-year-old reader right now. Just thinking about, again, my list, where it is and what needs I have. And I don't know that, I think that's where I would be looking right now. Yeah, no particular genre. Sorry, I was just trying to think if I would want to say, do I want fantasy or contemporary or no, but just more for the younger chapter book, young middle grade. That's what I'm looking for right now.
Random thought, graphic novels are super popular in France. Don't ask me why that came up, but it did. Is romantasy still big, still selling? Since the niche is becoming more populated, are there any specific things within that niche that you are interested in if you rep it? I wish I repped romantasy.
I have a romantasy on my list.
I wish I could sell it, or I had some.
I think that we are seeing a slowdown in the acquisitions of romantasy because I think the market is getting a little oversaturated, and that's where editors are at the moment. So they are definitely, they're still looking for it, but they're looking, again, like you'll hear in any other genre across the board, they're looking for something that has a unique angle or spin or something that would make it stand out in a crowded market. So really that's what it comes down to. For me, I find that I like more grounded fantasies in general. So that's for me.
Same. And it's interesting. So this is to your second question, Maria, since the niche is becoming more populated, there are specific angles. I'm hearing personally a lot of editors saying that they're interested in, I only rep Kidlit, so I'm speaking to YA right now. They're interested in the cozy fantasies and YA. Cozy fantasy has been very big in the adult market this past year, and I think people are kind of wanting to see how that might trickle down into the YA market this year. I've had every editor I've talked to actually in the last 2 weeks has told me that. So
do they want some cozy science fiction? Because I have some cozy science fiction.
I know you do.
I know.
We have a cozy fantasy, Dreadful,
yes.
New York Times bestseller.
Yep.
From Titan Books. Everyone should pick it up.
So good. It's so good. Really so editors are interested in books like Dreadful, but for YA. That would fall maybe under romantasy.
Oh, this is a good question. I'm on an R&R with the publisher. Should I use this to try and get an agent now or wait to see if the publisher wants the book? I don't want to jump on this one first.
Why?
I don't know.
I
guess.
Sorry.
I was going to say, I guess it depends what publisher or how, like if it's a big five or an independent or a small press. But Jackie, go, because I rudely interrupted you.
No, I actually agree with you. I mean, to my mind, I don't think it really matters, because if you do end up getting a contract, with a big publisher, if they're being transparent and nice, they're going to suggest that you get an agent, and they might give you some names of people they recommend. If it's, not a sort of big traditional publisher, then I'd say, well, how do you feel about the manuscript? Like, do you feel that the manuscript is in a good enough shape to share it? I mean, to me, it just always comes back down to the manuscript. It comes back to how strong the manuscript is. And I know people, often will contact us and say, oh, I've got an offer from this little tiny publisher no one's ever heard of. Or we'll have, oh, I've got an offer from Penguin Random House and my editor said to call you. But either way, we're going to look at the manuscript, because we do represent people for their whole careers. And if it's, if it's not a fit for what, I mean, we'd be doing a disservice if we offered on a manuscript that we weren't a good fit for, even if we, even if there was money in it, like even if there was, and this is not even an offer, this is an R&R. So I just think it's about the manuscript. That's me, though. There are agents who feel differently.
Kelly, are you one of those agents?
No, I think it makes sense. I think what Jackie's saying makes a lot of sense.
Okay. This is a question for Kelly. What is your reaction?
Can I say something first? I just need to say something first. Hi, Cynthia. Could we all celebrate our client, Sedora Ludwig, who got a Sydney Taylor honour in the exact list that Cynthia is asking about? So congratulations again, Sedora. Go, Lane, Cynthia, Kelly.
What is your reaction to the recent ALA awards, and do you find the choices instructive for writers?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I had a blast watching the ALA awards with Jackie, and our friend Lori. We were texting a lot, and then got excited for Nat as well. So,
Yep.
I my reaction, I just always get excited, and I make a list of it informs my TBR for the year. There were I don't think any big surprises. Maybe the Caldecott was a surprise. I believe it was a debut illustrator for the Caldecott, so that's kind of exciting when that happens. I think that's I need to go and check that out. But I was not familiar with a lot of the Caldecott honors in the winter, so I need to look those up. But middle grade, I think, was very, very no real surprises. It was just there was a great middle grade group this year for the Newberry. So do I find the choices instructive for writers is the other. That's an interesting question. I think that anytime you've got just high quality writing books or written books, you should read them and study them and see. But I would study them more for the craft than looking at them in terms of like, why is it, should I copy this for the market if I can sell it? But I think they're going to be some just very well written books, and anytime you read a well written book, it will inform your craft. So anybody else, were you excited or surprised at all by the ALA awards, Jackie?
I had fun.
Yeah, it's just fun.
I think people can get, well, because I work on like niche, books that go in niches, and I just downloaded the Newbery winner because I hadn't read it, and I'm looking forward to listening to it on Audible. Yeah. So I sort of stocked my book list. And I agree with everything Kelly said. I mean, I am less plugged in to what's in the middle grade market at the moment than Kelly and Nat are, but I just always find it fun, and I find it interesting, and I usually pick up a few books and I read them, and they might give me some ideas when I'm talking to clients, but I wouldn't kind of desperately plow through all of them to learn something about. And that is the school and library market too. That doesn't necessarily translate directly to the trade market.
Right.
I personally just feel left out of this group chat that seems to have gone on. Like
you
I
can
don't
be
know.
on it.
Same.
Right? Like I didn't get an invitation. What happened here, ladies?
Well, it's a Ravenquill thing. It's the three of us who started Ravenquill, and ever since we started, we always watch them together. So it's just us.
Well, I get left out of all the Slacks.
I mean, I think like the
it
more
wasn't
the
Slack.
merrier, right?
Text. There was a text exchange.
We could make a group chat, and like it could be a lot of fun. I'm just saying.
Like our LA trip, it was me, Ann, and Steffi. We had a text chat.
It was fun.
You had fun, and we weren't there, and we didn't complain.
Whose fault was it that you weren't there?
My day jobs.
Yeah, exactly. What happens when your work kind of bleeds across genres? For example, my MS is upmarket women's fiction, but it leans a little commercial. Ooh, you messed up right there. Is that an issue when an MS is sort of skirts multiple genres? Upmarket is commercial. Well, upmarket is really, commercial written in a literary way, isn't it? That's how I define upmarket. So it's a little commercial. I mean, upmarket in of itself is commercial, I think. I'm rambling.
Well, I don't think commercial fiction is a genre. I mean, I think it's a slice of the market. So while you might call upmarket women's fiction, I call women's fiction a genre. I don't really call upmarket a genre. So I think what you're talking about is actually not genre. I think you're talking about just whether you're leaning more literary or commercial in your women's fiction, because commercial and upmarket to me aren't really genres.
I think we should first apologize to Cheryl for Lane's "you blew it" comment or whatever.
I didn't say she blew it. I said, "Ooh, you messed up," because she.
Okay.
Well,
But
you
she
did say
did
that.
not
I
mess
did.
up.
You
Cheryl,
did
your
not.
question is absolutely valid, and I
Yes.
want
No,
to
I didn't say it
validate
wasn't
your
valid. I
question.
didn't say it wasn't valid. It's very valid. I ask questions that make people roll their eyes.
There's no eye rolling in this at all. I think that this
I
was a
didn't
great
roll my eyes at
I
all.
thought it was a good question. I think it's very helpful. So thank
So
you
do
for
I.
asking it and bring it to the table.
I appreciate that I got to explain and feel intelligent by explaining what upmarket is.
Okay. But
So she really set me up. She made me look good. It was like that.
I just hope you didn't hurt her feelings when you
I hope so too.
Cheryl,
If
you
so,
are being a very good sport.
I
Very
apologize
good.
if I hurt your feelings, Cheryl. It was a great question and made me look fantastic. I very much appreciate that.
So Cheryl, don't worry about it so much. It sounds like you have a great women's fiction project, and the fact
Oh,
that you're
Cheryl.
thinking about these things and you are asking questions
No.
is amazing. So you're on the right path. So keep
No,
going. You're doing wonderful.
Cheryl, please stay with us. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. Next question.
Yes.
How long does it typically take publishers to get back to agents who submit a picture book manuscript? What are publishers doing behind the scenes when they receive a picture book submission? This is a good question. I have no idea because I don't submit picture books. I wonder if it's different than any other genre category.
And also, none of us are picture book publishers. We're all agents. So we're sitting on this side of the email.
Yeah, I guess is maybe the question, does it take editors longer to get back to agents or submissions on novels and picture books? Is that maybe?
Well, I think
How
the
long does it
assumption
typically
is
take? Like there's no typical, I think is what the
Yeah.
answer is. There is no typical,
Mhm.
and one editor is going to vary from another. Sometimes we will get answers within a couple weeks on a full manuscript, and sometimes it'll take them 6 months. Kind of same thing with picture books. Like sometimes you'll get an answer within a few weeks or a month or 2 months, or you'll wait a year and you still haven't heard from the editor. So there's really, unfortunately, no typical when it comes to response times from editors. So that I think is that part of the question. And then the second, what are they doing? I think we should probably have an editor answer that question. I don't think
having coffee,
don't
playing
think
with
we-
the dog,
think we
doing
should.
anything
Private
other
sector.
than reading your submission. I'm kidding. Okay, next question. For those of you who also rep illustrators, how much weight do you put on the illustrator website? Oh, good question. And their body of illustration work in general versus the work they send for the project they're querying? It's a good question.
I think I dig deep when I look for projects. So I currently only have 2 illustrators on my list, and I can say that I looked through a lot of their work before I signed either of them. And that was digging through websites, Instagrams, all the things. So I think that they all kind of come into play.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of look at the project they send in that they're querying as the hook, and the hook that gets me to actually be interested, and then I check out their website. So I would say the website, portfolio, Instagram, wherever they have their work is very important.
I was about to start talking, then I realized I had myself muted. Does anyone in the publishing process help with fact-checking nonfiction manuscripts? That's a good question. I, in general, don't fact-check a manuscript per se, in that I do a lot of stuff that doesn't necessarily need fact-checking. But, for example, Susan Ashline. She's an Emmy-nominated journalist, amazing author, did Without a Prayer, A Jacket Off the Gorge. I'm not going to fact check her because she's the Emmy nominated journalist and I'm some schlub. She is off talking to police, DAs, interviewing stuff. That's her business. The publisher, I think in the contracts, that's the dog, it states that the author has to do that.
It is the author's responsibility legally.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. That's the answer to that question. How often do you communicate with your authors? When are normal times for authors and agents to talk? Jonathan has a lot to say.
That's a funny question because, like, during this, I actually got one of my clients sent me or forwarded me a TikTok while we were here. So my relationship with my clients is probably a little different than some. So we all are communicating basically at all times. We have a Discord channel that we use, and so all my clients get to talk to each other whenever they want, and I'm pretty much open whenever I'm awake. So that's generally how I do things, but not everyone is the same.
I have different styles with different people if they they prefer it. Some people I text and call all day every day. Some people I talk to once a month. Sometimes someone doesn't want to hear from me until I deliver, 6-figure deal. Depends on the author, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty author driven. I am trying desperately to not be answering emails and texts and things after 9 o'clock because I actually have noticed about myself that my brain doesn't focus very well and I'm more likely to say something stupid that then I have to fix up the next day. But that's a me thing. That's sort of a limitation I put on myself, not on being available to clients.
Yeah, and for me, it's really depending on with the client and what they're comfortable with. And we have conversations about that, when we sign, what's your favorite form? I don't mind a text. I usually don't, if it's work related, answer after 5 p.m. my time, Eastern, until the next morning, a text or an email. But there are a lot of times that we're talking and it's not work related. If we'll get a funny text or something will come up. Or, some of my clients just email, and it's really kind of driven by their needs. And sometimes it gets lost. And I always say, if I haven't gotten back to you in a day or two, then it may have gotten eaten by the monster that is my inbox, and always nudge. So it's really, I think it's just dependent on the agent and the client.
Anne asks, given the political climate, will LGBTQ plus fiction be a tough sell? I actually had this question posed to me today, I think, if I remember. And no, I think it'll be up. People are in the publishing industry tend to be of a certain political climate. Shush, Yoni. And I think that when someone comes in and says no more of this or book bannings, people want more of it and they want to publish more of it. They want to read more of it. They want to sell more of it.
We will not be complying in advance. So
yes,
we will be selling all of the super queer stories that I know I will. I'll be selling all of them that I can. So bring them.
No other answers, Jackie, Kelly?
No, I agree.
I agree. There's nothing to add.
Okay. Cheryl has another question. We love Cheryl. How editorial are you? I think I'm editorial. I do like big developments. I'm not the line by line, comma, grammatical, that kind of guy, but I am the developmental guy. Let's do it this way. What do you think about that? What do you think about this? This doesn't make sense. I always tell people you have to ask the questions before the reader has a chance to. Or you have to answer the questions before the reader has a chance to ask them.
I think we're all editorial.
Yeah.
agents.
But I do want to say, like, I see this in my inbox a lot saying, well, I see you're an editorial agent, so I'm really looking forward to, or I really hope that you will help me work this manuscript into shape. And that is not what an editorial agent does. At the querying stage, it's your job as an author to have the most polished, most, the best work you can possibly do on your own. Study your craft to make it that way. It's not our job at that point to whip your book into shape, if that makes sense.
We'll help you whip the next one into shape.
Well, and we'll still do, a couple rounds of
we still do
edits probably with what you're querying, but I think the understanding there, it makes me nervous that, I wrote this book last month. Now I want you to help me,
I
get it
just
ready to
finished
sell.
writing this book.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Those queries come in a lot. I just finished this book and want to get it published. I'm like, just? That's a strong word. I hope you didn't just finish it last week. And I apologize if it looks like I'm playing fetch with a dog, because I am. Otherwise, he will start barking like... You hear it? You hear it?
Mm-hmm.
Is this the puppy?
Yes.
This is Yoni.
Yes, Jonathan. How important is an author's social media in the query process? Which sites should we maintain accounts on? Anne is shaking her head, so I'm going to let her go first.
Sure. I don't think social media presence is required at all, especially if you're writing fiction. If you're writing nonfiction, that can be a conversation to be had, but there's other ways to build platform than through social media, even for nonfiction. I'm sure Jackie couldn't attest to that. So, yeah, I wouldn't worry so much about that necessarily. And which sites you should be on are the ones that you feel comfortable being on. So if you do not like taking pictures and posting them, then you should probably not do Instagram, right? Like if you don't like making videos of yourself, TikTok's probably going to be pretty hard. So just be authentic, just be you. So wherever you feel best is where you should be.
I'm co-signing what Anne said, and
Yeah, you do
in the
have nothing else
strongest
to add.
word possible.
Yeah.
Yep. Good job, Anne.
Is the rom-com market oversaturated? Anne, this is your forte. Let's go.
So we will hear editors say that the romance market is overcrowded. Absolutely. So it's really a matter of how your book stands out, because we are going to continue to buy them and continue to, sell them. Publishers are going to continue to buy them and continue to publish them. So it's just about finding that hook that makes it stand out amongst the crowd. So don't be discouraged, because let's be fair. Every market is overcrowded. I think there's like 3 million books every month published to Amazon. Like, I think that's the statistic. So it's not ever going to be undercrowded. Also, Cheryl, you are being brave. Good job.
Yay, Cheryl.
Yes.
So the next question,
But also, Rose, if you have a super queer romance, yes, please send it to me when it's ready. Thank you.
Would you represent someone named Rose?
Obviously.
Even if her last name was Anne?
Fits the brand. Like, makes it super easy.
It makes
awesome,
sense.
Rose. I'll be looking forward to it. Thank you.
Okay. How long should I wait before nudging my agent for an email response? I'm going to say I try to respond within 24 hours. I say if I haven't responded in 48 hours, nudge me. But there is always the chance an email has vanished into the ether, in which case, nudge me. I mean, just nudge. I think it's fine to nudge your agent. I mean, that's what your agent's there for.
Yeah, I always say if I don't answer within 24 hours, I'm probably dead. So, or I just didn't get it. So I'm always within 24 hours personally. So
Anyone else?
Same.
Okay. Next question. Ooh, I like this one. Can I ask my agent to show me their sub list for my book? Can I request that they add an editor who I think might like my work?
I mean, I'm
So-
yes on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I share
I
sub
actually,
lists.
Yeah.
I share my sub lists. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's always nice to know if an author has had a conversation with an editor and they think it might be a fit, or if they have ideas. It's not always possible to send it to that editor right away, because perhaps there's another project they're considering. I don't know. There's a lot of reasons to, but I think those kinds of conversations are great to have with your agent.
Yeah, I think it's at the end of the day, it's your career. And so you should
Right.
have a say in your career. So that's how I like to operate. So if there's editors you've been watching, you really like them, you think they could be a great fit, let's talk about it. Absolutely. I want to have those conversations.
I
Same.
also think it's important to tell us editors you hate, because I've literally run into that where I've submitted to someone and a client's been like, "Oh, I hate that guy. That guy hates me too." Like, oh, I wish I had known that. Oopsie daisy.
I share sub lists before we go out generally. So
Well, so do I, but I don't know how this foible happened.
it happens.
It happens. Haha, it's my last name. Oh, Rose is her last name.
Same.
Maybe it's someone you know.
Maybe.
At the risk of winning biggest PETA, pain in the ass, of the
never.
evening, I read a lot about publishing industry imploding, overworked editors. Can you speak to this? How this is going down in the big five? So I think publishing is always imploding. I always think editors are overworked, but publishing will continue. It's been going on for hundreds of years, since the 1400s, since Gutenberg. So, I mean, yeah, I think it's par for the course, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that editors unfortunately are overworked. Sorry, editors, we love you. I wish if it was up to me, they would hire more people to help editors to be able to
Yeah.
do all of the things. If it was up to us, they would hire more people in marketing to make sure the books all got, that lead title treatment, because I feel like if every book was treated like a lead title, every book would be bringing in more of a profit. But again, these are bigger conversations, and the people that end up writing the checks are the ones that like to consolidate and make the money, and just so it's not up to us.
Yeah.
True. Check it. What's the protocol on nudging for fulls? I've heard 3 months, 6 months, or not at all. I think 6 months, but then again, I'm completely horrible at queries, so what I say should probably have very little weight.
I mean, I think between 3 and 6 is fine. I think the thing that's annoying, and this seems to be happening more, although maybe I'm misremembering, people nudging because another agent requested a full, or because you saw something on YouTube that this imprint might be interested in. It's like, just let us read it. If you have an offer from another agent or an editor, tell us and we will expedite our review. But I think, it's awful because waiting is terrible, but everyone's busy. We have to prioritize our own client projects. We have other stuff in our inbox. And I think 3 to 6 months is pretty reasonable. I mean, I think after 3, it's fine to say, hey, where is it in the queue? I think that's fine. But just don't be sort of nudging the agent with every little thing that happens in the meantime.
Unless you shook hands with Obama and he said, I want to read your book.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
When I put together a nonfiction proposal with clients, I tell them for like their bio or the marketing, I want to know everything and I'll figure it out. And I always make the joke, if Obama sneezed on you, I want to know about it because maybe that'll sell the book. You never know. It's a great last name. Oh, it is. I really wonder if Rose's first name is now Anne. Is it really Anne over there pretending to be someone else?
I don't even know. I can't. It doesn't even let me join the chat, so it's not
Yeah.
me. So
Okay. How should formerly agented authors pursue getting a new agent? The royal I, think that no, it's not Anne. Ah, shucks.
see,
I think you go about querying the normal way and just mention formerly represented, unless you know an agent personally or want to reach out to, like, I have friends who are writers that say, hey, I'm looking for a new agent. Do you have any references or blah, blah, blah. And, you know, say la vie. Am I the only one going to answer that question?
I just completely lost my focus then because I have a cat trying to climb a window.
I hope it doesn't get out. Is the window closed?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just climbing up glass. And so I lost track of it. So I'm happy to answer the question if you repeat the question.
It's like a horror movie.
It totally, our pets are out of control tonight.
Right.
It is.
Oh, what
Maybe
was
has
the
something
question?
to do with the Lunar New Year.
Probably.
It's how should formerly agented authors pursue getting a new agent?
Yes, I would say the same way as you did the first time. It's worth making a note that you amicably parted with your previous agent because Query Manager does say, have you been previously represented? And I, you know, I'll sometimes ask who the past agent was, but usually it's not so much who they were, but how different is my style from theirs. I'm kind of trying to figure out if, you know, can you tell me what you're looking for that you didn't get in the previous agent so I can gauge better if I'm a fit? So I think you really do the same thing. But maybe think about, well, what wasn't working with that agent? What are you looking for in a new agent now that you've been agented before? So if the new agent who's offering, you know, is having the call with you, you can sort of intelligently talk about, you know, here's what I'm looking for. That just helps me a lot. That's a dog.
Yes.
So I get my cat. I'll get the cat.
If you want to get the cat,
fight for it.
That'd be hilarious if they tried to fight through the computer screen. That would crack me up. What steps can I take to become a literary agent? Ooh.
Go, Lane.
Ooh.
Don't do it. Just don't.
Yeah, save yourself the heartache. This is not an entry-level job. You can't just be like a real estate agent and be like, hey, I know how to sell houses. Let me go sell books. I think I did it in a very oddball way. I think a lot of people go to school for English and then get interested and then take internships. But I think, yeah, internships, you know, classes at some of the agencies put on classes. Anyone else want to answer this one while I wrestle with the puppy?
Well, Kelly and I did internships.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you do? Same?
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
It really is a kind of intern apprenticeship based industry still on the editorial side too. They start as interns and work their ways up. So
yeah. Okie doke. What happens if my agent leaves my agency?
Do you want the legal answer or the conventional answer?
I'm not going to answer this because it's my agency. So what would you do if you left the agency?
We'd steal all our clients and we wouldn't tell you.
I think you're allowed at this agency to take your clients with you because I'm not a thief, so I think you can take your clients. At least in our contracts, I'm fairly like 99.99% sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay. I'm going to do the legal thing just because, hey, I'm a lawyer. I'm an attorney. I like that word. We don't say that where I trained. Anyway, with the contract, you're typically signing with the agency, not with the agent, which I think is what your question is premised on, because then the agent leaves, you've contracted with the agency, what happens? Typically, conventionally, most agencies are cool about, the agent taking the clients with them. There may be situations where that's not the case. But I generally speaking, it's not a problem. If the agent is leaving agenting, then there's this question of, well, can the agency find you someone else in that agency? Because you are a client of the agency, and most agencies will try and do that. But that doesn't always work out because there isn't always someone who's a good fit for the work you're doing. So generally it's not a big deal. Generally, if the agent is going somewhere else or starting their own agency, you go with them. The original agency still administers any contracts that were brokered while you were at that agency, and any new contracts are with the new agency.
And I'll be the one to say it that I think when you switch agencies, your commission should go with you. We still pay out commissions to former agents who worked here. So I'm just putting that out there.
That is what happens. I mean, I think legally that is what happens.
Yeah. You and me know that. You and I know that. Anyway, for fantasy, do you have anything particularly odd or specific to you that would be a fun MSWL for you? Good question.
That's an interesting question. No, I love fantasy. It's by far my favorite thing to read in my free time and in my query box. But I don't. I don't know if there's anything odd or specific. The thing about it is the voice and the characters are the primary things that I look for, not the world building. But the world building has to be very good. So, but there's not an odd or quirky thing that tends to pull me in. I just really want to be surprised. Right now, I want to see something just fresh that surprises me. A lot of stuff in my inbox that I've come across in the last couple of months seems to be kind of just expected. So I want to be surprised, even in fantasy.
For me, let's see. I tend to like more grounded fantasy. So, and when this came up on the screen, made me think. And the first thing that came up to the top of my head was, what would I want to see? And I would love like a sapphic kind of house on the Cerulean Sea. So something like that. Cozy sapphic would be amazing. That's something I would love to see in my inbox right now.
I totally thought you were going to say gnomes.
I do love gnomes. And there is a gnome in House in the Cerulean Sea. So
is there?
There is.
I'm reading that book right now. It's for my book club. It's so good.
Yeah.
I will say the thing about fantasy for me is I am super racist against halflings. I don't like halflings. I think it's maybe because I didn't like Lord of the Rings. Judge me all you want. I didn't like the book. I didn't like the series. It's just me, and I'm racist against halflings. I don't support them, and I think halflings. Do you even
take fantasy, Lane?
I represent fantasy. I have some fantasy authors. A bunch of my authors do fantasy. I'm hoping to sign a fantasy author next week, this week, next week. But I am super racist against hobbits. I mean, halflings. I just don't like them. I don't know. dwarves, goblins, ogres, orcs, gnolls, kobolds. Cool. You know, even the bird people. I forget their names from Dungeons and Dragons. I'm talking only in Dungeons and Dragons. Okay. You know, normally I may have cut that part out, but this is live. I said it.
Somewhere Frodo is crying. Okay.
I think Frodo. I think I'm the least of Frodo's problems. Kenku, that's what it is. Kenku. Maria got it. I think those are the bird people. Okay, it's been an hour. I just made a fool of myself, and hopefully it don't get canceled by the halfling population. Anybody have final questions or thoughts? No? Okay, well, this has been the Tobias Literary Agency with the Literary Lens live Ask Me Anything January 29th at 7 p.m. And I'm Lane Haymont. That's Ann Rose, Jackie Lipton, and Kelly Dykstra-House. We will see you
When's
on
our
the flip
next
side.
one?
Oh, our next one.
Yeah.
Let me look because it is the last Wednesday
of the
of
month.
every month. So this for February, it is literally the 29th. No, I'm a liar. It's the 26th. February 26th, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
We'll see you then.
Yes, you will see it on our YouTube. See you then. Goodbye. I support
Bye.
halflings.
Bye.